chest is for General Hospital, August 29, 2025. First things first, let me know your thoughts on today's new episode down below. What did y'all think? Let me know. Okay, y'all. Excuse me. Okay, so I don't know where to start, cause look, hey, how you doing today? Look, I don't know where to start, cause the way Britt ran out of there was so funny. Then the body that was found, spoiler alert, it was not Drew. It was the judge. When she picked up that phone after Chase got through talking to her, and she called, I'm assuming, obviously, Sewell. And she was like, they have a problem. I said, it's going to be her. I said, no, it's going to be her. We wanted it to be Drew. I still think something going to happen to him because yet another person threatened him. Carla threatened him on today's episode, and Elizabeth heard. Curtis threatened him also, and Kai heard. So I was like, yeah, I still feel like they setting it up for it to be a who did it because he done made so many enemies. But now I'm wondering, if they finna get ready to pin this on Sonny, because Drew already been telling people that Sonny bribed the judge or whatever, and now the body is found. They gonna sit up here and say he did it. Then Rocco, I wonder if Sonny just popped up or if they contacted him. But yeah, they telling him how they found the body and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my goodness. Sonny finna get set up look like. But okay, on today's episode, like I said, Britt, I said, do y'all think Britt going to get the phone and call Jason? Because Jason gave her that phone. She put it in the little box or whatever. And I think Danny said he's supposed to be coming home. So hopefully he ain't left yet. I want to assume that she's contacted Jason, but she ran out of there so fast. Josh was trying to get her to help. She already shut that door and left. I said, at least somebody got some sense. I was like, but she did stand up there. She was standing up there, whatever. Josh told her to help or whatever. She hurried up, shut that door and left. I'm assuming she going to get the cell phone. But I don't know. I won't know until we actually see the episode. But okay, so on today's episode, they started off with Britt. With this, I knew the body that was floating in the pier was the judge. I would imagine that Rocco contacted Sonny. Oh, I forgot. Look, I forgot that was his grandson. I knew Danny was Jason's. I forgot. But yeah, I knew the body that was floating in the pier was the judge. I would imagine that Rocco contacted Sonny and told him that he and Danny found the body. Right. I said they better call the police because they gonna think that Sonny did it. They definitely is. Yeah, I was like, Now what does this mean? That I know it mean that they could investigate Sonny because Drew has this theory, but like Carly said on today's episode, he don't have no actual proof. He just going based off what Marco said. I said the only way he would get proof is if Sidwell provided the information, but wouldn't it expose him? I don't know. But yeah, Britt looked like she had been drinking and stuff. They started with her on this episode. And looked like she was passed out. She was waking up and she was like, she had mentioned Jason's name. Or whatever. Carly, Danny, Rocco. She was having a meeting with them. She ends up telling them that they could come back next summer and they could even be promoted to lifeguards and stuff like that. I should wait. Let me go back to Britt. Let's go back to Britt. I gotta write down Josh Savon because I don't think I wrote that down. Let me see. Let's go back to Britt. She put the phone that Jason gave her up in the box or whatever, and then she had left because she was walking. I don't know if she was walking by or what, and she ends up seeing Pascal, and I don't know the dude's name. I know they just said his name, but I forgot, y'all. The guy that was in her room giving her massages and stuff. She was wondering what they was doing or whatever. I think first he told her she needed to get back to the lab or something. I think he called her and said she needed to get back to the lab. She hasn't been there. She wasting a day away, and she was like, she coming. Then she ends up seeing them together or whatever. She told the dude that she needed his help moving something. So this fool left. I said, now why would you come? I said, why would you leave? I know she mentioned something about you don't want me to tell whoever it is because they still haven't revealed who it is or whatever. So that's when he left. And as soon as he went to walking or whatever, she hurried up, used her card and got in there. And Josh was like, help us or whatever. And she left. It was so funny. She got out of there fast, did she? Carly, Danny Rocco said that she offered them a summer job and said how they could be promoted to lifeguards and stuff like that. Drew ends up coming in. So Danny wanted to talk to him. Wait, I think I skipped something. Danny revealed to Carly that Drew served them, and as long as Jason's gone, they can't serve him because, he's still a minor and his guardian's not there. And he was like, he can sneak and see her either way it go. And Carly advised against that, but he still looked like he being hard-headed. he don't listen. He just like Jason. He don't listen. But yeah, he still want to go see his sister and everything. Drew ends up coming in there, so that's when he confronted him. He ends up confronting Drew, saying, "Why did you serve us or whatever? We just wanted to see him." And he's so doggone mean. I don't know if mean is the proper word for him. He talking about, "So Rocco, well, I don't know what you are." He's like, "Well, you nothing." I was like, "Oh, I had to, I had to heal. What the world?" He was like, "Rocco, people." He told Carly, he was like, people really need to stop saying that that's Scout's brother or whatever. Told Rocco to his face, "You're not her brother. You're nothing," or whatever. And Carlos like, "That's enough," or whatever. Then Jason Jr. ends up telling him that he not leaving Carly alone with him. So she told him that she was okay. So he ends up telling Carly that he know that Sonny bribed the judge and he want to excuse me, he wanted so Willow could get primary custody. And she's so crazy. We're gonna talk about her in a minute. We're gonna talk. I was like, look, I was with Elizabeth. Elizabeth, when she told that about the Germany situation, this fool she was just smiling and stuff. I said, she lost it, y'all. She done lost it. I said, what's wrong with this girl? She was telling about how Drew was able to reach across the sea and stuff like that and interfere with her seeing Michael or whatever. And Elizabeth was like, that ain't no good thing. I said, right, Elizabeth, what the word going on? She was just smiling and stuff because they was talking about Drew and how he had said he'll help before and he made things worse or whatever. And she was talking about the power he has and trying to speak on him being good and he could help her get her kids back. And that's what she brought up Germany. I said, that ain't gonna help your case. And Elizabeth was like, that should show you who he is. And she was like, yeah, maybe or whatever. And I said, she in La La Land, y'all. She gone. She definitely gone. They gonna have to. Then Chase over here still speaking on her graces and stuff, talking to the judge. Look, this is a review all over the place. He sees the judge or whatever, and I was trying to remember what's that her. Then she ends up talking about the Corinthos case and stuff like that, and she was like, she can't speak on it. He was like, please or whatever. So that's when he was saying how she deserves to see her kids and she a good mother and all this other stuff. So the judge basically said, if she proves that she mentally stable and stuff like that, then she could be able to see her kids. So he ran to tell her. And she told me, I already came up. She basically came up with a plan. That's what she's saying on next week's episode. I don't know if they're going to air it Monday, y'all. I know Beyond the Gates, they said they not airing none next week. But yeah, I'm assuming Tuesday, but I don't know if they're going to air Monday. But yeah, they talking and she talking about some doggone. She came up with a way to get her kids back for good and everything. And she even told Elizabeth that she don't plan on letting Michael see the kids at all because he was basically doing the same thing. And she was trying to advise against that, but she ain't listening. She definitely not listening. She was standing there smiling when she was talking about the Germany situation. I was like, this girl's crazy. I said, she crazy. They gonna have to watch her. They definitely gonna have to watch her. Because once she realized Drew ain't, well, I take that back. I about to say once she realized Drew ain't worth for darn or whatever, and he only out for self, then, excuse me, hold on. I about to say it's gonna be a huge reality check, but she already knows. She was telling Elizabeth on today's episode, and I was like, yeah, somebody gonna have to step up and commit her or something. I don't even know who can commit her because she's no longer married to Michael. What else? Let's see. Is that the judge? I said, is that the judge Chase was talking to? Yes, it was. Willow ends up telling Elizabeth that she's getting back with Drew, and she was trying to advise her against that. Portia and Isaiah actually slept together, y'all, but Trina did not walk in on it. I said, dog it. I was hoping they at least left something on the doggone couch, at least nothing. So this is gonna be another secret. This is gonna be yet another secret. But yeah, then she stood her tail up there talking about so she don't have no regret, not a one. I said, and when Curtis come back to try to get you back or whatever, you're gonna have some regret then. But yeah, Portia and Isaiah are about to sleep together. They actually did sleep together. They had enough time to get dressed and everything. Nobody walked in on them. When Trina did come, it was too late. They done got dressed and everything. But yeah, I already said Pascal wanted Britt to come into work or whatever, and she agreed. Chase says that Willow deserves to see her kids. He was talking to the judge. Isaiah and Portia said they didn't plan it, but she doesn't have any regrets. He came back to check on his woman. He came back to check on her. Look, I said, what you doing back? I said, where's Curtis? I said, now Curtis, you should have been here. Somebody should have caught her. But yeah, what else? Stella thinks that Curtis will fight back, and she wanted Jordan to talk to him. I said, don't you? I said, you stay away. Like, what's his name? Isaiah said. I said, stay away till they get a divorce or whatever they gonna do. But yeah, she tried to talk to him, but he finna do something he gonna regret too. And I think that Trina is gonna want Kai to find that evidence because on today's episode, when she was talking to Trina, she said something about Drew has the proof or whatever. So I'm assuming when she told him there's nothing you could do for Stella, but there's something you could do for my mom, find the evidence. They was standing up in there in his office talking, and he was yelling, and the door was open. I said, "Stop before he walk in on you." I said, "Stop it." But yeah, I think she definitely gonna want him to find the evidence. Hold on. Okay, let's see what else. What else? Danny said, "If Jason gone, he can't be served." Kai heard Curtis threaten Drew. And I told her, look, this is why I thought originally that it was going to be Drew that was laying in that water. Because all week long, people been threatening him. Even on today's episode, Curtis and Carly. And somebody overheard the threat. But as of right now, he's still breathing. I start this review. I was going to say, I got some bad news, y'all. I got some bad news. He's still kicking. He's still kicking and stirring up trouble. Then, when he was talking to Carly, he was saying how Curtis, something about Curtis, and he went out to Stella, and she got locked up and all this other stuff, but that's nothing compared to what I'm gonna do to Michael. And I said, nobody got the sense to record this man and expose him. And I was like, yep, but I'm gonna still assume somebody finna take him out, or at least shoot him. I don't know. Maybe not actually take him up out of there, but try to. I say that much because it's too many people been threatening him. Too many. Elizabeth walked in on Carly threatening him to murder him and stuff like that. And I said, And it looked like she gonna be talking to Carly about Willow. And I think Carly I forgot, what was Carly saying? Something about Willow, and basically if she can't see who Drew is, that's her own problem. I said, right. I said, Elizabeth, if you ain't learned by now, she just told you. You just seen how far she is. She was trying to toss a sister to her. The girl, she done lost it. Over Willow and her delusion. Chase needs to shut. It said Chase needs to shut. Right, he over here. I said, see, they should have just Chase and Brooklyn ain't even been spending no time together at all, in everybody else's business but their own business. Let me see. He does not have one bone in this fight. Willow's not into it. Right, exactly. She definitely not can't wait till she loses the kids, and that's gonna push her further over the edge. When she realized that she not getting no kids back as of right now, she gonna go even further over the edge. What else? Let me see. I already said Kai heard Curtis threatened Drew. Trina want to know everything, so Portia finally told her everything. The judge said if Willow could demonstrate growth, then she'll be able to see the kids, but it's too late. After Chase left, that's when she contacted Silver, and I said, no, I was hoping Sonny got to her first. Now how they gonna prove it? The girl is in the water. She was in the water, y'all. Once they showed their dress and everything, I said, shouldn't have called him. Maybe she left some evidence or something. Maybe she left a clue. Something, I don't know. But I'm sure if obviously Sonny didn't do it, then they gonna put two and two together to realize it was Sitwell. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Carly tells Danny to let the lawyers handle it. Portia tells Trina what she did. And she wasn't upset. She wasn't upset or whatever. I thought she was gonna be upset. Can anybody answer the question for me? Did Portia? Yep, they did. And she said she ain't had no regrets. And nobody walked in on her. Trina came after they had already put their clothes back on. But yeah, let me see. Portia tells Trina what she did. We already said that. Kai, he was talking to Drew, and he mentioned Stella, but he didn't let it know. He didn't let it be known that he overheard Drew and Curtis' conversation. So he mentioned Stella and how she was good to him, and he was like, yeah, I'm sure if she didn't commit fraud, she'll be okay. I said, you lousy thing, you. But yeah, after Drew left out, he went and got on the phone, and I'm like, who are you about to call? So he called somebody, and he found out that Drew actually was responsible for Stella, and he told Trina he finally see who Drew is. He finally do, y'all. And Trina was like, there's nothing you could do to help Stella, but there's something you could do to help my mama. I'm assuming she want him to find that evidence that she changed those test results or whatever, but we'll see. Let's see. Willow thinks that Drew would get what's coming. No, that ain't what? I said Willow thinks Drew would get what's coming to him. That ain't what happened. I know for certain. Who said they think that Drew would get what's coming to him? I don't know, but I know Willow didn't say it. I wrote Willow. I know she ain't said it. I don't know who said it. I don't know. Maybe it was Carly. Carly probably the one who said he gonna get what's coming to him. But yeah, they end up saying that Stella could go home. Curtis was about to post her bail, but she's still like waiting on them to take it to trial if they decide to. Carly ends up saying that Willow needs help, and nobody's listening still. He ain't listening still. Excuse me. I already said how Britt ends up using her car to get into where Joss and Vaughn at. I said they should have. When don't they supposed to be trained? They could have been broke out by now. I said, what kind of training? They just said she's still sitting on the floor. He's still in the chair. Ain't nobody broke out. They still all tied up. Now, Jason and them, when they be in this situation, they could get out. If you're a trained person, don't you supposed to know how to get out? They didn't sleep together. Wait, I'm confused. I thought they did sleep together. So they didn't sleep together? Wait a minute. I know on the beginning of the episode they showed them kissing and stuff. Then next thing you know, they was putting their clothes on. They had their clothes on or whatever, and she asked him and he asked her did they have regrets or whatever. I could have sworn they slept together. But yeah, what else? Excuse me. Let's see. Carl said Willow need help. Bree saw just not. I know maybe they did sleep together. They should have showed it. That would have made us really know what happened. Look, I'm doubting. Like, I'm wondering if they slept together too now. I just know they showed at the beginning of the episode they had been. Maybe I missed the part. I don't know, y'all. But yeah, Rocco and Danny was walking, and that's when they saw a body in the water. They cut to the body, and it was the judge. I said, "Dog, it should have been Drew. It should have been Drew." But yeah, let's see. Kai ends up telling Trina he wants to make it up to her and her parents, and that's when she told him you had some nerves going out to Danny and Rocco. Told about so you are Scout's half brother. Rocco's nothing. Right, exactly. I said he took it too far. I said he's so far gone. I don't know where they finna get ready to take this storyline, but I feel like they setting it up for either he gonna get taken out or they gonna try to take him out. A little crazy to her mother, in my opinion. Right, we haven't seen that crazy side of Nina in a long time. I don't think. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Jordan tries to talk some sense to Curtis, but he ready to go after Drew. Portia tells Isaiah that her marriage was ruined way before him. The end of the scene, not the end of the scene. Was the body in the water the last scene? I know Carly. No, it wasn't. Carly threatened to take Drew out, and Elizabeth was just standing right there. And I said, see y'all, it's too many people. Alexis and Laura and them heard. Curtis and Kai heard. Carly and Elizabeth heard. And who else? It was somebody else that threatened him. Nina and Marco heard. So I was like, that's why I was assuming it was going to be Drew or whatever. But it was not. It definitely was not. It was the judge, y'all. And Sonny's supposed to be right there. I said, Sonny, don't you do nothing. Don't you move nobody. That's going to make you look guilty. Y'all better call Turner, call somebody, Anna. Hold on. But yeah, now look, I need to go back and watch the scene now. Because I thought they did sleep together. But yeah, that's it, y'all. Let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces, have a great rest of the day and be safe. And a great weekend.